Today I'm gonna tell you why you should never ignore the red dot. Nah, man, you can't do it, man. And in this video, we're gonna talk about what is the red dot, how to deal with it, and what happens if you do ignore the red dot. First off, what is the red dot? Old Native American proverb where the father told the son, there's two great wolves inside you. One of anger, hate, despair, jealousy, and one of joy, power, empowerment, love, and all that essence. And the son asked, which one's gonna win? And the father said, whichever one you feed the most. See, that story there, it really encompasses what is the red dot and what is the blue dot. The red dot is that one wolf that is just angry, fear. He's living life based out of doubt. Man. You can't do it, man. Nah, man. You can't do it, man. And the blue dot is the joy, empowerment, all that great stuff. Now that we have what are the red dot, why is it important to never ignore it? The way that we don't feed it is most people think, hey, if I ignore all these doubts in my head, it will get smaller. I won't feed that thing. But what I found is the more you ignore it, the bigger and bigger and bigger the problem is. Just like when you don't do the dishes and you don't clean up and you just kind of leave stuff and you ignore the mess for a little bit, it becomes a bigger and bigger and bigger problem. Just like when you have bills, it compounds into a negative outcome that we really don't want. Now, positively, when we pay attention to something, just like our bills or our savings or our weight management and our strength training or all that, the more we pay attention to it, the more it gets bigger and stronger and all that. And I'm gonna tell you, we have to verbally pay attention to it. So when it interjects into our head and say, no, you can't do that, or that's dumb, sometimes you have to take time and be like, no, I got this. You don't know what you're talking about. And you will sound like a crazy man, especially if you do it around people. You will sound very crazy. But it's crazier if you just ignore it, and then it grows bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And now you're dealing with Clifford, the big red dog outside, where now he's too big for you to defeat. Have you seen people who just given up in fear? They just surrendered. Everything, the world is just too big and too scary for them to do anything new. And now they're living that repeated doom cycle of, I don't want to be here. I hate this here, but I can't change it. It's all pointless. I hate this here. I don't want to do it, but it's too much. I can't change it. And they just stay on that hamster wheel. And even if you suggest something like, hey, you could change it, they will fight. They will fight you to stay in their current circumstance. And they'll say, you don't get it. You don't get it. It's just a big problem. I can't handle that. You see this in a lot of different ways. You see it manifest in a lot of different ways where people are struggling with certain things, and the answers have been answered since the beginning of time. But they do not want to hear that answer. So they're going to fight to stay in that same zone, which goes to what happens if you don't defeat that red dot. And if you always ignore it, you could go into that death spiral where the problem gets so big that it's unmanageable and you can't even see yourself fighting it or defeating it because he's too big. You haven't fed the positive. You've only fed the defeat by ignoring it and allowing it to whisper in your ear every night. So our main tactic for starving that one is by not ignoring the red dot. One thing I do that helps me out, when I have a negative thought, I actually write it down. And I'll write it down and I say, if this was to be true, then this. And a lot of times after the sniff test, it doesn't work. If I was dumb, then I would have to believe that I will be unable to do this, this, or that. If I was too incapable, then this would have to be true. And when you write it down and you see it, it's a special power. When you speak out of that word, does that make sense? Is that true? And most of the time when it's in the head, that red dot is just sending that notification of doubt. If you don't read it and respond back, he won.